24 and counting.
When will this man stop? Will he ever? I've just come to the conclusion that Novak has made a deal with Father Time and has transcended aging. Novak is in his 21st year on the professional tour and is still one of the best players on the planet. This is not normal. 99% of tennis players peak in their late 20s, early 30s, then slowly decline as they age. Eventually, there is a rapid deterioration in form as the athlete's reactions, first step and ability to move become slower. Inevitably, there is a realization that they cannot compete with the hungry young dogs coming up. Settling for the farewell season. Content to give fans their final moments on court and a fairy tale goodbye? But not Novak. This man has not slowed down one bit. He may actually be made of rubber. And the more he continues to amass Grand Slams, ATP Masters, and putting a vanguard on the next generation trying to break through, the more we have to ask ourselves the question, and I really hate to do this, but is Novak the greatest tennis player of all time? And if he isn't, what more does he need to do to truly, once and for all, be the GOAT? Let's talk through the candidates. There are 4 camps of who the GOAT might be. Novak holds around 50% of it. It probably should be more, but we'll discuss reasons why. Roger comes in second with 25%. Rafa close behind with about 20%. The big 3 own a majority of the pie, and it's pretty clear to see why, as they have won 66 Grand Slams collectively and together held the #1 spot in tennis for 18 years. And the last 5% would be others from different eras. Usually these other fans believe the GOAT could be Rod Laver, Jimmy Connors or Bjorn Borg. There's not too many of them, but they cannot be convinced otherwise. The thing is, for those in the Roger camp believe that he is and forever will be the GOAT. But realistically, is there anything Novak can do to surpass him? There's got to be some objectivity to this, rather than simply the grace and elegance of one's game. Let's look at some objective metrics to take a closer look at the merits with no opinions, no bias, just pure facts. Let's look at the basic numbers. Let's start with Novak and Roger. Novak has more Grand Slams and the most in tennis history with 24. He has more ATP Masters. He has more Tour Finals, which is the season-ending tournament with the best 8 players that year. He has more prize money, but in fairness, prize money has risen due to inflation and just more money in tennis altogether. He's been at the top longer than anyone holding the record with a whooping 428 weeks at #1, and has a slightly better overall win percentage. Roger isn't far behind in most of the categories. He holds an edge when it comes to Olympics and still has more career titles at the moment. If you look at them combined, they held the #1 spot in tennis for around 14 years. Let's quickly look at the same comparison with Novak and Rafa. Novak edges Rafa in Grand Slams. He has won more ATP Masters. Unbelievably, Rafa has never won a tour final, so Novak has a big one over on him on this. Rafa won gold at the Beijing Olympics in singles in 2008, which is an achievement Novak is still chasing. Novak sweeps the rest of the categories in titles, prize money, weeks at the top, and win percentage. Between the big 3, Novak has the most Grand Slams, ATP Masters, titles, points, prize money, and weeks at #1. The career totals highlight Novak's longevity in the game. In fact, it probably highlights how incredible all 3 athletes were for such a long time. These numbers don't prove that Novak has the best forehand, backhand, serve, volley or movement, but it just proves that Novak has been the most successful in getting the job done. These numbers also show how versatile Novak is, with Rafa the undisputed clay god and Roger a master of grass. Novak has got the most slams and has the most balance of slams, winning 10 Australian Opens, 3 French Opens, 4 US Opens and 7 Wimbledons. Rafa only has 2 Australian Opens and 2 Wimbledons, with the majority of his coming at the French Open with 14. Roger having 5 AOs, 8 Wimbledons, 5 US Opens, but due to Rafa's dominance, just the 1 French Open. Novak holds the most ATP Masters 1000 titles. ATP Masters are the tour's most prestigious competitions behind the majors. There are 9 each year. Novak has won all 9 of them, whereas Roger and Rafa only have 7 of the 9. Novak is the only man in history to have completed all 9, an achievement dubbed the Golden Masters. In fact, he has done it twice. it will probably be known as the Novak Masters to accomplish the same feat in years to come. Let's have a look at their head-to-heads against each other. Let's have a close look at how they fared against each other across the many important matches across their careers. Novak leads Roger in the head-to-heads 27-23. He also holds a significant advantage in Grand Slam matches, winning 11 compared to Roger's 6. This probably doesn't tell the whole story though, as Federer led 13-7 for their first 20 matchups, which arguably Roger was at his prime. However, still probably have to give Novak credit of turning the tide and coming out on top, and he would have still had to beat a prime Federer in a lot of the matchups, and capitalized further as Federer got a bit older. Moving on to the Novak and Rafa head-to-head. Novak and Rafa can barely be split, with Novak leading by 1 in a crazy 59 meetings. Rafa leads in their Grand Slam head-to-heads 11-7, where his dominance on clay is undisputed. There is hardly much between the two, with Novak's hard court prowess cancelling out Nadal's godlike clay ability. As it stands, Novak has a slightly better head-to-head against both the big three, which puts him in the driver's seat for the GOAT race. It's absurd how many times these guys have matched up on the tour, and in especially Grand Slams. It just plays into why these three are in the GOAT debate to begin with. Okay, now that we have got the numbers out of the way, let's talk through the best argument for Roger. Roger's 2004 to 2007 period will likely be an unmatched run. He won 42 tournaments, including 11 Grand Slams, had the record number of weeks at number 1 consecutively. Made 10 straight Slam finals, he had a win-loss record of 315 wins and just 24 losses, a 93% win rate. Novak's best season in 2015 was a 93% win rate. Federer did this for 4 seasons in a row. Can you imagine that? I think the true calling card is that more than anyone else, Roger Federer is the face of tennis. He had that class and elegance that people associate with the sport. His game looked so easy and effortless, people forgot how hard he worked for it. He was a global icon beyond tennis. He put tennis on the map in the competitive world of sports entertainment. He has left tennis with his reputation still in impeccable standing. Djokovic has had a more successful career, but he will never be the same icon as Federer was, and frankly, still is. Let's talk through Rafa's best claim to the throne. Rafa's dominance on clay cannot be understated. He was virtually flawless on this surface his whole career. Almost every opponent has claimed this is the hardest, most challenging match, without a doubt. To play Rafa in his clay backyard, he won 14 French Opens and has a 96.6 win rate at this Grand Slam, with 112 wins to only 4 losses. It is also worth noting that this feat shouldn't take away from his achievements on other surfaces. He has won every Slam on every surface. He has gold at the Olympics, neither Novak or Roger have for singles. Arguably, he competed against Roger in his prime years, as well as Novak in his prime years, and achieved so much in the game. Rafa's tenacity and intensity on the court will unlikely ever be matched, and if GOAT was based on who is the best player on one surface, I think it would be a pretty straightforward answer that Rafa is better on clay than Novak is on hard court, and Roger is on grass courts. The numbers don't lie. Novak, achievement-wise, has reached the pinnacle of the sport in every facet, and let's be honest, Novak still isn't done yet. He's still challenging for more slams, and his body looks as youthful as ever. The only thing stopping him from winning more would be spending more time with his family. I think on the court it's objectively true that Novak has achieved more than anyone else in men's tennis. He has done more than Rafa. He has done more than Roger. He is the GOAT. If you're enjoying the content, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. It'll help me a lot in making better content for you guys. So, what's left for Djokovic? Beyond a shock switch to playing regular doubles and winning everything in that category, which if he really wanted to, there's nothing really stopping him there. But it probably won't add too much to his legacy. One of the last achievements left would be the Olympic gold medal. This is only available every 4 years, and his best result was a bronze in 2008. He has been beaten by the eventual gold medalists Rafael Nadal and Andy Murray in 2008 and 2012, and was shocked by Juan Martín del Potro in round 1 in 2016. If he can win the Olympics in Paris, this would further cement his GOAT status, picking off the last notch in all of the tennis world's achievements. Novak has won more matches with opponents ranked in the top 10 and top 5 than any other man ever. However, one record he still sits behind is overall career match wins in the Open era. He is third with 1,104, behind Roger with 1,251 and record holder Jimmy Connors at 1,274. And the last record for him is career titles. He is also third with 98, again behind Federer with 103 and Jimmy Connors leading with 109. These seem trivial compared to the bigger categories, but it's still worth noting. Novak still has a couple of years at the top level, so there is a high chance he will succeed Connors before his career eclipses. Despite his records, the longevity and his astonishing success, Djokovic has never been wildly popular among tennis fans around the world. Of course, he has a core of loyal supporters, but he has never garnered the same universal admiration as Federer or Nadal, in spite of his best efforts. Part of the reason is the Federer rivalry that has elevated modern tennis to new heights, both champions representing values and respectfulness that has resonated with the public. Federer's effortless grace and elegance on and off the court, Nadal's unwavering desire to compete, and an unmatched intensity to win every single point. There was a sentiment that no one wanted this rivalry to end. It was tennis's perfect clash of styles and greatness. Novak came and interrupted that rivalry with his sheer force of will, and those fans enamored with the Federer storyline would have scorned Novak for this. Novak definitely hasn't helped his own cause. His faith in holistic medicine and spirituality is often misunderstood. His refusal to receive the COVID-19 vaccination prevented him from playing the Australian Open and US Open. He was deported from Melbourne for breaching health entry protocols. He also made a controversial decision to host an exhibition tournament in Belgrade at the height of the pandemic, where most nations had strict lockdown measures, and wasn't helped by the fact that many participants did in fact contract COVID during the event. Novak has never been a saint on the court, often criticized for his antics. Unimpressed observers point to Novak's tactic to disrupt the rhythm of his opponent by bouncing the ball endlessly before his serves. They deem it unsportsmanlike. And there have been many occasions when Novak has reacted to the crowd either loudly cheering his opponents or not showing enough appreciation to the match ongoing. As strange as it may seem, Novak, as the undisputed number one, seems to always be on the wrong end of the crowd, with them cheering the underdog and hoping for him to lose. The same cannot be said for Roger or Rafa in their careers. Novak salutes the four corners of the stadium after a victory, and this also has been viewed as a non-genuine attempt to win the crowd over. All the statistical evidence points to Novak as the greatest of all time in tennis, and his story has still yet to come to an end. Roger has closed the curtains on his career. Rafa is still trying to push, as he always has, for more, but his body has finally caught up to him. Personally, I have grown up in that Federer-Nadal era and was largely in the Roger camp for a long time. However, my mind has changed, and I have come to the conclusion that Novak is the greatest tennis player of all time. But I will always have that special place in my heart for Federer, as he was the first to shatter the ceilings of modern tennis and how much impact a person could have on the sport. I also will be rooting for Rafa in every Grand Slam, especially at the French Open, as he continues to inspire and stand for what he has done his whole career, to never give up. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it, and comment on who you think is the GOAT and why.